Welcome to the Godly Playroom at First United Church in Wetaskiwin. Today I have with me Jackie and Ruth, and we're going to tell a story. Today I'm very, very thankful that it's raining. It might not be raining when you hear this story, but today when I'm telling the story it is. And it's just so wonderful because my garden and flowers were getting very dry. So that's something to be very happy about today. But maybe there's something different that you're happy about today. So now we're going to get ready. And to get ready, we'll light our candle. Once there was someone who said such amazing things and did such wonderful things that people would follow him. And one time when they were following him, they asked him, "Who are you?" And he said, "I am the light." I forgot to say who I am, and I am Sherry Crooks. So, how do you get ready to hear a story? I like to take a deep breath. And then we can start. This is a story about Saint Thomas Aquinas. The church remembers Thomas during the time of the color green. I wonder why we remember Thomas. Little Tommaso d'Aquino was born in an old castle in between Naples and Rome. He was the last child of 4 boys and 5 girls born into the family. When he was about 5, his family gave him to a monastery. There was a great Benedictine monastery at Monte Cassino nearby. They hoped that someday he would be the leader of the monks that lived there. When Thomas was about 12, he went to the university in Naples, which seems kind of strange because he wasn't very old, but he was very smart for his age. At the university, he met Jordan of Saxony, who was a Dominican monk, a Dominican friar, and a great teacher. While Thomas was at the university, he began to study the books of Aristotle, the Greek philosopher. All his life, he would learn to love 2 types of books: the Bible and the books of Aristotle. Finally, he decided that he would not become a Benedictine monk. He would become a Dominican friar or brother, like Jordan of Saxony. Thomas was very, very intelligent and also very quiet. He had the nickname the Silent Ox because he was so quiet and he was huge. Some people say he was 6 foot 6 inches tall. One day, he dropped a page of notes by his room as he was going into his room, and another student came and picked them up and brought them to his teacher, Albert the Great. When Albert read these notes and listened to Thomas's answers to questions in class, Albert said that someday this silent ox would be heard around the world. The Dominicans sent Thomas to Paris, where there was the greatest university in the world, and there he began to study how to talk about God. Talking about God is called theology. He studied very hard, and he earned a doctorate of theology degree, and he began to start writing about God and about theology. When he was a boy, and all his life, he asked many questions, so he began to write his books that way. He would write a question, and then he would write all the answers he could find, all kinds of different answers about that question. And then he would write what he thought. He wrote pages and pages and pages on questions about Aristotle, the Bible, and God. When he was older, then something happened. During the feast of St. Nicholas, he was presiding over the Holy Communion, and then he was in a daze for 3 days. Finally, he told a friend what he had discovered, and he discovered that his biggest questions about God could not be put into words. He wouldn't write anymore. He said that his words were like so much straw. Now he only wanted to be close to God. When he was very old, the Pope sent him to France to a meeting, but it was a long journey and he died on the way. So we remember Thomas because he asked questions for God. Some of those answers he could write about, but some no words were there for them. He knew this by being close to God. I wonder what you like best about this story.
I liked enough that he was brave enough to ask those questions.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what you think is most important.
Something about him gathering all the information that other people had written, but still writing what he thought.
Yes.
Right? That balance between both. Get the information, but make your own opinion, and yeah.
I really enjoyed that part of the story. I thought that was such an interesting way to write a book and to look at questions. I wonder if there's any part of this story where you are, or where you might be part of this story.
In my questions.
Yes.
I like books.
And the books. Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going to start putting this story away, but you can keep wondering about this. I know I did. I wondered many things after I learned this story, and I learned a little bit more myself about Aristotle, the Greek philosopher who lived a very long time ago in ancient Greece, and I learned a little bit more about Benedictine monks and Dominican friars because I didn't know the difference. So I learned about that. But maybe there's other things you want to learn or wonder about this story. But I'm going to put it away now. And while I'm putting it away, you can think about what you might want to get for response. And you can stop this video whenever you want and gather your materials. And I will do the same. But first, we'll gather up the straw that he said his words were compared to being close to God.
I wonder if that's where Martin Luther got the phrase, an epistle of straw.
Oh, really?
I wonder.
I wonder. I didn't know that. Yes, all these things, sometimes they kind of fit together. It's so interesting. I like this, the silent ox, because he was quiet and tall. And his two favorite kinds of books, the Bible and Aristotle. And this is a booklet that you can look at if you're ever in the Godly Playroom. And it does give you a little bit more information about Thomas. As we sit in the story, he was born in what's now known as Italy, between Rome and Naples, so right there in Europe. That's the flag of Italy. There, now I think you can see it better, sorry. And he died in 1274, so that was a very, very long time ago, more than 800 years ago that he lived. And the green and growing time. And the church remembers Saint Thomas. And we'll see you back soon. Welcome back. I hope you found something for your response. Today I'm going to try something I've not done before, and because I was thinking about what I could do in response to this story, and one of the recommendations to me was that Thomas really liked writing, so he liked letters, so I'm going to do stuff with writing and letters, an acrostic poem. I've already put lines on my paper to help me, but if you're good at freehand, you wouldn't have to do that if you were going to do this for a response. So, I should explain what an acrostic poem is. So, this is an example. You could write any word you want. For example, cats. So you would write the word cat down this way vertically, and the beginning of each letter could be a word or a sentence or a phrase. So cats could be cuddly, acrobatic, tenacious, or softly purring. So that's how that works. But for me today, I decided, since we heard all about Thomas, and I found him to be a very interesting person, I'm going to use his name, Thomas. And I'm going to use a stencil to write my first letter, because freehand isn't one of my skills, but some people write beautifully freehand. So T and an H. T-H-O. T-H-O and then M. Oops. kind of liked his Italian name. What was it? T-O-M-M-A. All right. So that's what it looks like now. So now all I have to do is come up with a word or sentence or phrase for each of those letters, which I've already thought about a bit. But there could be many, many ways of doing this and many words and sentences you could use. But I decided first of all for the T, I was thinking about how tall he was. If he really was 6 foot 6 inches tall, that would have been huge in those days because people tended to be a bit shorter. So he would have towered over everybody. Oh, tower, that would have been a good word too. But I decided tall. Tall was his stature. H. Lots of things we could have used for H, like his home was in Italy or in a castle. But I thought, I don't know if he was humble, but to me some of the stories make it sound like maybe he was in what he did and how he did it. So I'm just going to put humble was his way. Especially when he decided that all his life's work wasn't really with straw. Humble was his way. Oh. What did I decide? Oh, right. Oh was hard. I had to really think about that one, but maybe you can think of a good one. But I decided that he was very observant when it came to his studies. He studied very, very hard. So, observant to his studies. I guess that's how he got a doctorate. He worked very hard. M. All right, mastering theology and writing. So he became very, very good at writing because he wrote many books and papers, and he studied theology. So I said he, he mastering, yeah. Theology and writing. That was something I enjoyed about the story. And A, oh yes, right, of course. He really liked Aristotle, so of course A is going to be for Aristotle. But it could be anything else too. There's lots of other things. Aristotle, he was a favorite. Aristotle, right. And S. For S, I decided to write about asking questions. So I thought he just simply asked questions. Sometimes maybe we forget how important it is to ask questions. Even if you don't have an answer for it, at least it's something to wonder about then. And he asked questions for God. So maybe I'll add that on too. Yeah. So, tall was his stature, humble was his way, observant to his studies, mastering theology and writing. Aristotle was a favorite, simply asked questions for God. I didn't make it rhyme, that would have been too hard. Some people do. And some people make them so that one sentence then becomes part of the next sentence and so on, and they spend, I think, a lot of time, and they're very good at poetry. But today, that is what we get. Now, some of you might be very artistic, and what you can do with this is that you can take the first letter of each one and decorate it. You could color it, and you can even make these letters so fancy. Oh, some of them are beautiful. And you can add vines or flowers, birds, nature, geometric designs to them. Beautiful things. And that's called illumination. And illumination was used in many of the Bibles and books that people wrote during the time that Saint Thomas lived. And they were really beautiful works of art. And if you're good at that, and I don't draw very well all the time, some of these little stickers, I'm going to cheat, but I can illuminate this with a sticker. Why not? There's birds and flowers. This bird is not going to, okay, that's all right. There, so this is just an example of what you could do for illumination. So one I colored, one has stripes, and then I've just got some little stickers on there. But if you're interested in the true art of illumination, just look it up. It's really quite amazing. Well, whatever you did for your response, I hope you enjoyed it, that you played and you had fun with it, and that it helped you with the story. I'm going to clean up my response time now, and then you can get ready for your feast, and I will too, and I'll see you back. Hello and welcome back to feast time, and I hope you found something that you can share with whoever you're with for a feast, or all by yourself like me. So to begin with, we'll just do a short little prayer. Today's prayer is in honor of Saint Thomas, who was very silent. So we're going to do a silent prayer. So just close your eyes and think of something that you're thankful for. Amen. All right. Clean my hands. And it is the time of color green. Today I just have some vegetables. But I was thinking about Thomas growing up in Italy. So to my veggies I added a little piece of basil. Italian food is awesome, and sometimes there's basil and other herbs. That's what makes it so good. I don't know what it would be like. Can you imagine being 5 years old and having to go to a monastery all by yourself, away from your family? I thought that was a strange part of the story, but I think it was common for those days. Basil and tomato go very well together. I feel badly eating all this good food in front of other people. One of the things I enjoyed about the story, well, there's many things I liked about this story because I like books too, and I like to study things and learn new things. And so I could relate to Thomas in many ways. But one thing I did like was that he was quiet. And even though he was a quiet man, he still was able to share what he thought and what he learned through writing. And that he made a big difference. And so I thought, well, it doesn't really matter if you are loud and chatty or quiet. You can still do significant things with your life. So whoever you are, or whatever kind of personality you have, that's okay. Just look what Thomas did. I could sit here and eat all day, but I think that's good for now. So, think about what Thomas did and how he asked questions and how it's okay to ask questions, and what a great way to try and figure out the answers by writing out everything everybody else tells you about what the answers should be or what they think it is. Write them all out and then think, what do you think? And write that down. Maybe that's something you can do over the summer holidays. Write a little journal. Well, I think our time's come to a close. Time to clean up the feast. And time to change our light. The light here is in one place and one time. And now it can spread all throughout the room, over to Jackie and Ruth, out the door, upstairs, and maybe out to all of you. Goodbye and God bless.